the first thing we try to do is we try to get rid of the pain, right? And as we try to get rid of the pain, we don't know if we're developing bad habits or if we're developing good habits. But I definitely wanted to show people that as I was going through this pain, I wanted to be resilient. I wanted to tell my story, but more than anything, I wanted to be truthful. A lot of people didn't know the things that I was going through. Although I woke up every day and I showed up happy, they didn't know that I didn't find out that my son wasn't mine until I was 12, until he was 12 years old. Right? Nobody knew that. And it's not something that you just broadcast to the world, but I want to tell people, I'm showing up regardless, even if I'm going through this. Right? That book also came from a tragedy that I experienced with my daughter that got hit by a car. And I saved her life, but I watched her go through a coma for 2.5 months. And while she sat there and she went through that coma, I stood there with her every day, by her side, reading books while she was in the coma as if she was perfectly fine. Not realizing that that was what was saving her, right? Not realizing that was stimulating her mind. But every book comes with a story. When I first wrote that book, it took me about 6 months. And I woke up every day at 4 o'clock in the morning before my family had got up. And I didn't want no distractions. I just grinded. And I took myself through that pain. I took myself through that trauma. Not realizing that I was healing myself through that process. And it was one of the most healing things is telling my story, because nobody can ever take that from me. Exactly. Right? And no matter what I went through. After I wrote that book, though, I learned how to publish a book, and I said, hold on, I can publish another book. And I published a second book within 2 weeks. And that book was the Manifest and Play book. So if you ever go on Just B's social media, he definitely hypes that book up. But that book right there is just, I believe that every day you gotta wake up with purpose, especially when you are trying to fulfill a goal, when you are trying to fulfill a mission. And in order for you to do so, you gotta know what your core values are. You gotta know what your goals are. You gotta know what type of people you need around you, but you need to identify your strengths. You gotta identify your character, and then you come up with this plan. And just like the girl said, the few, anytime you do anything, you have to have a plan. If not, you just going through life just winging it. And it's so much better when you're able to do things strategically. My motto right now is leverage everything. And my job has been to just help people leverage their businesses and scale. And I've been helping people along this process, but I never really poured into myself. This year, that shit is over with.
Amen. Amen.
I've seen a lot of people get accolades off of my hard work. I've seen this community support people that did my work. And now it's time for me to create a whole new community and get acknowledged and get appreciated, just like I should. I never decided to become a negative person. I never decided to become an evil person. I just go hard in the paint. And I use my creativity to do so.
Amen.
All the books that I've written, they all, like I said, they have a story. Anybody ever did 23andMe? All right, so I did 23andMe, and I found out I was a descendant of Pharaoh Ramesses III. Now, I'm a Bible man. I've been a Christian all my life. And if you read the Bible, you know that all they talk about is Pharaoh. But when they told me I was a descendant of a Pharaoh, I said, hold on, there's got to be much more information to this. So I went to study Egyptology. I started learning all these different things about Egypt, and I learned that there's a whole nother culture, a whole nother history, a whole nother philosophy. And as I learned and I educated myself on who I was, I wanted to take kids on that same journey. Because if you can just spark interest and knowledge in somebody, you don't realize how deep they'll go and how much they'll find themselves. And this right here gave me more confidence in anything. This book right here, I sold more of these books than any book because my marketing strategy is totally different than those other books. My marketing strategy is I can sell 200 to 500 of those at one time without having to go individually to each person and trying to sell them. I can go sell these to schools. My last book is a whole business. I got 30 seconds. I got you.
I ain't gonna say nothing, B.
My last book is a whole program. This book was just released about 3 months ago. And this book right here is already giving me acknowledgement. I'm already acknowledged as the top tech in 2025 in Nevada. And it's not a nomination. And I don't think it's a nomination. To me, it's a win. So it's going to be at the Legion Stadium. But this book right here was truly created just to help kids learn to be entrepreneurs and create supplemental income. As a child, when I was in high school, I had to sell CDs in order to take care of myself. In order for me to buy school clothes, in order for me to buy lunch, that was how I did it. So I'm just teaching kids how to start businesses, utilizing their passion, utilizing their gifts, and honestly, if they use it, they'll know exactly how to start a business when they become an adult. So I'm just helping. So everything that I'm doing, it's not just about me, it's about my community. And the best thing you can do for me, honestly, is if you can recommend me, refer me, or just introduce me to someone who deals with children, you can help me change the world.
Yeah, hey, B.